Joe McMurray. I'm a professional musician. However, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm continuously learning new things. It's what fuels my passion. I love learning from private lessons, from online resources, and I especially love learning from books. I think that everybody does need to study with a teacher at some point in their lives or periodically throughout their lives, but I find that books are wonderful as supplements to lessons or when you are in those periods where you're not taking private lessons. So some books, like method books, are meant to actually teach you how to play, technique, and that sort of thing. And then there's a lot of repertoire books out there. Today we're going to be talking about The Gigging Guitarist, which is a repertoire book. It's full of tunes that are traditional and Appalachian tunes for fingerstyle guitar. So before we get into that, I want to pitch my own book, Arranging for Fingerstyle Guitar. In this book, we'll take one melody and we'll arrange it in hundreds of different ways. You can purchase the ebook on my website. Also, if you haven't heard my music, please check out Riding the Wave. It's available on all streaming platforms. So, when you're looking to buy books, there are tons of books on Amazon and the internet and in Barnes & Noble, whatever, your local bookshop. It's hard to know which book to buy. I actually have at least 4 or 5 Celtic fingerstyle songbooks, and they're all very different from each other. There are good things about each of these books. I really like this one. So, The Gigging Guitarist, it provides sonorous and playable arrangements of Celtic and Appalachian tunes for solo fingerstyle guitar. It is great for a range of players. If you are a later beginner player, this book is great for you. You can totally play these arrangements. If you're an intermediate or advanced player, these tunes are also great for you. They're not going to be super difficult project tunes, but that's the point. It's called The Gigging Guitarist. The author, Michael Wood, he intended for you to be able to take this book to a gig and put it on your music stand and play through it. And I think he achieved that with this book. The tunes are really nice sounding, and they don't have full bar chords. They're all in standard tuning. They are pretty easy to read through if you're an experienced player. If you're interested in Celtic tunes like Turlough O'Carolan's Beag Si Mhor, or Irish or Appalachian jigs or fiddle tunes, or if you're interested in Appalachian ballads, this book has those types of tunes in it. You're not going to find any popular music that you'd hear on top 40 radio stations, and that's totally fine. Hey Athena, this is my dog Athena. Say hi to our audience if you're listening from YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm sorry you can't see her, but she's here. So anyway, Michael Wood's arrangements, they don't utilize alternating bass or Travis picking or any of the percussive techniques of modern players like Andy McKee or Mike Dawes. The tunes have a very flowing arpeggiated feel where the melody is at the forefront, and then the bass notes and the inner harmony are meant to, they fit in between the melody notes. So it's very flowy, and it makes it easier to play, and I think it's really beautiful. So although all of the tunes are in standard tuning, I do like to use drop D on a couple tunes. I just modify it a little bit. No big deal. So this book, it has excellent repertoire in the styles I mentioned. The tunes can all be played without page turns, which is great for gigging. Most of the tunes, you'll have the 2 pages like this, or if it's 1 page tune, it doesn't matter. The arrangements cause low hand fatigue. There's not any bar chords. There's some other things that he does that reduces hand fatigue. This is great for long gigs. Great if you are worried about developing arthritis and that sort of thing. The book features no alternate tunings, which is also good for gigging because changing tunings takes time and leaves your audience in silence. Also, the optional intros make the tunes feel more complete and polished, and basically he just takes like the last couple bars of the tune, it'll say optional intro, and you can play that to lead into the beginning of the tune. Moving on, the performance notes at the beginning of the book, they provide some background on each tune. They're not like super in-depth, but sometimes you can get a little history or information about the form of the tune, or maybe something about why he chose to use certain drones, or just little things like that. I try to read, when I'm going to play a tune for the first time, I would always go back and read the performance notes beforehand. So I'm going to go ahead and play through some of the arrangements in this book. Like I said, I really love this book. I've been using it, and as soon as I got it, I knew immediately that it was something that I was going to keep coming back to, and I've incorporated a lot of these songs into my own repertoire. And, you know, these tunes might not go over super well at a more upbeat bar kind of place, but they're great for coffee shops or wedding receptions or restaurants, anything like that. They're really nice. And you can use a classical or steel string guitar here. There's no thumb over the top stuff unless you want to use that. And there's no audio access, just so you know. But you should be able to play these no problem. So the first song I'm going to play is called Lament for the Death of His Second Wife. This is a really pretty Celtic ballad. It's in standard tuning, but I actually like to play it in drop D, just to beef it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to tune back to standard tuning. I promise all the rest of the songs that I play will be in standard tuning. Okay, so the next song I'm going to play is called Whiskey Before Breakfast. So this is an Irish and Appalachian fiddle tune. Let's see. So here we go. I'm going to skip the repeat though. I'll do a little intro. It's a fun one. So the next tune I'm going to play is called Carolyn's Welcome. This is a tune by Turlough O'Carolan, the great Irish bard songwriter. He's written a lot of famous tunes like Beag Si Mhor. So this one has more of a minor sound. I'm going to go ahead and play it. moving on. The next tune I'm going to play is Pretty Sorrow. Or Sorrow, I don't know how you're supposed to say it. But this tune is very pretty. It's a traditional Appalachian ballad. So this one, it utilizes the note A as a drone note. It's the second fret of the third string, so you're going to see me holding that down for most of the tune. I'm going to play the optional intro. I think that would be great at a wedding in particular. Okay, so the next tune I'm going to play is called The Road to Lisdoon Varna. This is a traditional Irish tune in 6/8 time, and it's in a minor key. It's A Dorian, technically, but it's sorrowful and beautiful and haunting, and I really, really love this one. I'm going to play it with the optional intro, and I'm not going to take any repeats. Okay, so moving on from that, we're going to go back to Turlough O'Carolan, to probably his most famous song, as far as I know. This is Beag Si Mhor. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's a classic Irish ballad, Celtic ballad. So this is a nice arrangement of it in standard tuning, and I'm going to try to do it justice. I'll skip the repeats to keep it shorter. Here we go. So I've tried to give you a good selection of the different types of tunes you might find in this book. Some are slower and more beautiful ballads. You have fiddle tunes, major and minor tonality fiddle tunes. This last one I'm going to do is called the Kesh Jig. This is a really popular Irish jig in 6/8 time. This one's really fun, so I'm going to end on this, and I'll do the little optional beginning. That one is so much fun to play. Alright, so I'm not going to play any more tunes from the book, but Hopefully you've seen what you need to see to know whether this is the right book for you. I love it. If you are interested, I mentioned earlier that I've written my own book. It's called Arranging for Fingerstyle Guitar. You can purchase the ebook at the link below in the show notes. Basically, I've taken one simple melody and I have shown you how to arrange it in hundreds of different ways, going from the bare bones melody to adding simple bass lines underneath, to adding arpeggiation and Travis picking, harmonizing the melody in thirds and sixths and tenths, getting into alternate tunings and transposing to different keys. And then at the end I get into reharmonization, which is an area that I'm particularly interested in. So the book is great for anyone from a late beginner through an advanced player. It's almost 200 pages long. There's a lot of material in it. So if you do like what I'm doing and you want to support me and learn something yourself, please check out my book. I think it's different from everything else that's out there in the way I present the material. Also, if you haven't heard my music, please check out Riding the Wave. It's available on all streaming platforms. It's got fingerstyle guitar and fingerstyle ukulele and a piano tune. So I hope you'll check it out, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.